It's not necessarily about becoming, it's about unbecoming.
Hey there. Welcome to Top of Mind. Real talk for today's woman. With Anna and Karen.
And we're back. And
Hello.
don't let Annie's new sweater fool you. If you notice 4 of these, I've been in this shirt, even though she keeps switching them up. That's because we just taped these all in an hour. But anyway, you're on the hot seat today, girl. So
An hour and a half.
an
Oh,
hour and a half. Yes.
funny.
Okay. So I'm going to put to you what apparently you're studying right now, something new. I want you to tell us about it.
I am studying the Course in Miracles.
Cool.
So I think if again, remember how Karen and I love to butcher things. So the original course, I think, was kind of written in the 80s.
Yep.
By two doctors.
Yep.
And basically what happens is this doctor kind of just has these things come through her. And she said it's the voice of God.
It's the voice of Jesus.
The voice of Jesus, yeah.
I believe she's a Jewish woman too.
She is. And you can look up her name because I don't remember her name.
I'm looking it up right now for you.
So one of my husband's good friends has told me that
Helen Schumann.
Sugar?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't say it. Schumann.
Okay. So she was the one who had the voice come through her, and another doctor, and they're academics.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of transcribed it. So one of my husband's friends has told me he's been doing the course. I think he does it every year. So I've been kind of looking at it even before then. So it's kind of odd. So I'm kind of like thinking about it. And I tried to read it back in the 90s. It made no sense to me because I wasn't ready for it. Mm-hmm. And so I kept seeing things and I kept saying, no, no, no. And then along comes Eric, and Eric's, telling me how he's doing it. So I'm like, okay, it's time. That's how I decide what I'm going to do. It's how many people are going to bang me in the head with it. So I bought this book. It's called The Course in Miracles Experiment. It's a starter kit, and it's by somebody by the name of Pam Brout. Mm-hmm. And what I like about her is she takes, to me, like what are kind of, difficult concepts, and she makes them easy. So as of right now, today would be my lesson 24. But so far, what the course is about is our thoughts, basically cause and effect. Because what we like to do is we like to have a thought and think that it's fact. Oh my gosh, I look big today. Fact. Okay. Pretty much anything. I mean, you can apply it to, anything in life you can apply it to. So basically right now, that's the part that I'm on is, it's almost like they say the same thing, but in different ways. Mm-hmm. So for instance, lesson 23 says, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. So attack thoughts are things that I put out, and attack thoughts are things I take in. Let me get into.
So when you say attack, are you ATTACK?
Yes.
Okay, attack thoughts.
So it's just about, again, how you're interpreting your thoughts. A few lessons ago, there's somebody I was having trouble with, and I was going to see them for the first time in a bit. And that lesson was, I am determined to see. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I said, I am determined to see Sue in a different way.
Yep.
So right now, again, I mean, it is all about our thoughts, how powerful they are, how things that we see. And it's interesting. Like, let's talk about, say, and we'll take a little dirty plunge into elections. And American elections, because there's two very myopic sides. And one side can be very pointed, seeing things one specific way. And so both sides. I am learning not to see things so pointed. I am learning that the way I see things are through my own
bias.
These are gems, by the way. I see things through my lens.
Yep.
and only my lens. My lens is, let's talk about what's our lens made up of, Karen?
Well, our thoughts, our experiences, our past, our future, our aspirations,
Yep.
our
And
interpretation.
exactly, like pretty much just almost like a cassette, right? It's
Yeah.
everything that has already happened in the past is kind of formed our lens. So it's been a very interesting lesson for me because a lot of it, like when we talk about the law of attraction, it's all tied in together with our thoughts. And what I'm learning very patiently is that one, my thoughts aren't fact,
Mhm.
and that the way you and I see things are different, but that doesn't mean that I'm right
Nope.
and
Yep.
you're wrong. So it's been very, I have to tell you, it's not easy. It's not an easy read to
Oh,
me.
no. Yeah.
Um, but I'm learning again, and it's almost like a reinforcement of ways, things that I've known through different ways or different
Yes.
things. Um, so I've been really taking my time with trying to figure or at least work through this.
Right.
So it's been interesting. So I read the book, and then I have a notebook that's dedicated to this.
Mhm.
And if you guys remember, like even last month, I talked about my spiritual journey
Yes.
and how I'm on my spiritual journey. And this is part of my spiritual journey. Um, and again, it's I talked about how I last in over the summer I read A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson.
Mhm.
Again, part of my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And then I decided to take this on. Um, and again, I'd love to tell you I'm consistent. I try to read every day and do my lesson every day, but I was away. So I missed 2 days while I was away. Um, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's that's not what it's about. It's we talked about consistency and persistence, and it's not about me doing it perfectly every day. But my goal is, I set out with the goal to do it, and pretty much I'm probably reading and doing my lesson, 5 days a week, or sometimes 7 days a week. It just
Mhm.
depends on the week.
Yeah.
But the point is, I'm moving forward. So let me pick out another one here. Today's lesson is I get whatever I focus upon.
Mhm.
So that was lesson 12. And I guess the first part of the book is about, first you have to understand it before you can rewire. So you have to understand your thoughts. And again, they talk a lot about cause and effect
Yep.
because we want to think that we have our thought, that's the cause, and then whatever happens is a result of our thought. It's actually the opposite.
So, just a little bit of background. You said it was out in the 80s. I actually looked, it was out in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah, which I didn't know, but it became bigger in the 80s. Everybody was
Okay.
talking about it. But, I believe that with her partner, and I believe this is what happened, was she was praying to God to help her in her relationship with this partner as a business partner. And there was some friction between them. And this is where all of a sudden she started to channel whom she was told was Jesus Christ himself, right? And that it was about the interpretation of the Bible. And so she channeled, he would write. And this changed their relationship together.
Hmm.
So when they'll I also put it on my shelf in the 80s and flipped a couple of times and tried and went, oh my God. And then I remember there was this year that all of a sudden there was this group and I started studying it with them. It was just the right time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think of it's like The Secret, the law of attraction, spirituality, all of that has a common thread and theme. So I was exposed to it from Marianne Williamson. She was an AA person who then went to the Course in Miracles, and all of her teachings are from that.
Yes.
Wayne Dyer is another one. That's who she studied with, you know.
Okay.
Big Course in Miracles person. But she went on to study the book, and you can get study sessions with her and um, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I always think of it as the book of the first book of the movie The Matrix.
Interesting.
You know, the concept is that, and this is ultimately when you speak to people that have been studying the law of attraction and things like that, the laws of the universe, ultimately, we live in a thought universe.
Mhm.
Everything is created in our thought. That's the matrix, you know?
Everything we see.
And the idea that we're all connected. I think in the book they referred to it as the brother. You're my brother. They never say sister. Everybody's brother. And so basically it was supposed to be the proper interpretation of the Bible and Jesus's teachings and God's teachings. And this is what you've missed and what you've misinterpreted, and here it is. That's what it is.
And I believe, and I got, early on, again, a couple of the early lessons, it has to do with um, understanding that we are part of a collective.
Yep.
Where we get in trouble is when we become individual or we see things
Yeah.
from
And
the
yep.
individual.
Sorry, and that's where pain and suffering comes from, is because I've separated, I think in the book it says, I've separated from my father, meaning God. But if
Mhm.
you look at this, in other books, they call it, the universe, the gray matters in between, that's a secret kind of, that it penetrates everything and is in between everything, that co-creates type of idea. It's all interconnected. And the idea is that the reason why we feel this way is because now we have an ego and we're separated from God. And the idea is that if we return to God, the collective conscious, us all together, that's what we're trying to achieve. And then our pain and suffering will stop.
And I have to tell you, I see it again. I'm gonna just not, and I don't want to get into politics, but I see it. It's just so clear to me.
Mhm.
It really is. Like I can see it so clearly, and I give you credit because you're very, well, you're far more advanced in this than I am because I just kind of started. But you're doing a really good job in general, kind of given the synopsis. Um, but people think about The Secret. But I can give you books that were written in the 20s. Like The Secret is basically a regurg of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. So
Yeah,
these concepts aren't new. And
no.
I think what we have to understand is they've been around for a long time.
Yeah,
Like you look at the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs, they all studied these things.
yeah.
Um,
Before Napoleon Hill, it was Waddle Tor, like the turn of the century,
yeah.
you know?
I mean, it's, Francis Scoville. They're like, these are writers in the, I think one of her books is Your Word is Your Wand. I mean, these are people that were before the internet,
Yeah.
before, anything that kind of gave us that common access to information, they were writing this shit down.
Well, and if you look at, Thomas Truard, a man think of James Clear,
Yeah,
James
Frankel, Viktor
Thomas,
Frankl,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, all of those, right?
Earl
So,
Nightingale.
and when they did The Secret, the reason that the Secret came out as a way of, as one law of abundance, bringing it to the world to understand. And that's when, do you know that back then when they made the movie, they weren't even allowed to say manifestation?
Wow,
And look at us now, right? You can't turn without some coach trying to teach you how to manifest. I
it's
mean,
true. So true.
so it was for a select few, and they wrote about it, and some people studied it, and it's that collective, that hundredth monkey idea where it becomes bigger and grows as we all get connected to it, and they're just universal laws.
They are.
you know, the law of rhythm, the law of, there's 7 of them, I'd have to look them up to remember them all.
Cause
But
and effect is one. I mean,
yep,
it's,
yeah. I mean, it's
it's
just like gravity, right? There's just different laws.
right.
And you either buy into it or not. It doesn't matter. They work.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter if you believe in gravity or not. Guess what? If you drop something, it's going to go down. You don't have to believe in it, but it still exists.
I mean, Albert
So,
Einstein, he kind of wrote about these things and he,
yeah.
even again, before we were all connected by the internet and we had Dr. Google and, I mean, it's been around for a long time. So,
I believe he's the one who said that imagination is more important than knowledge.
and he's the one that said that energy neither is created nor
It is
destroyed, it's just
destroyed.
transformed.
Yeah.
So it's there, and we're, we talked before about how we're energy, and I don't want to I don't want to digress off of this, but um, it is, our thoughts matter. Our thoughts create our reality.
And what's nice is you talk about evolving. I mean, I pick up different books, coaches, mentors. You're picking up different books. The idea is that we're expanding. And I have a mentor that talks a lot about expanding and what that means. And I think I'll try and write it down to remember for the next time, because he does an excellent suggestion of looking what expansion means and what it means in people's life. And I watch him do this with groups, and it's very powerful to understand why we're searching, why we're reaching,
Mhm.
you know. And I'll do that at next month.
And yeah, and if you think about it again, we were born this way. We were born kind of, but again, through life and conditioning and things, we've gotten away from it.
Yep.
But think about you as a kid. I mean, was there any limit? I mean,
You didn't know what limits were. You didn't understand it.
no. And
You know?
we've again succeeded in placing them back on ourselves, and we need to just go back.
Yep. Well, they say, spirituality isn't growing up. It's growing back down into that wondrous child.
And you know what? I 100% agree with that. It's not necessarily about becoming, it's about unbecoming.
Yes. Ooh, that's nice. I want to be unbecoming. Yes.
Yeah. It's we're taking
Yeah.
away the layers, and we're unbecoming. Yeah.
I think that's a mic drop. That was a mic drop.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
great.
that was mic drop. Let's all become unbecoming. But absolutely. Yeah, I like that.
So again, this is just part of my spiritual journey that I'm sharing with everybody. So we're open. So if there's something that you've read or something that's touched you or has had an impact, please share it with us, because Karen and I love this stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
I'd
I
like to
don't,
read it. Tell me what to read next.
yeah, if there's something you see that's interesting, but again, this isn't, even though she's an excellent writer and she makes it very simple, it's not simple. It's not an easy read, and a lot of it is practicing, and it says it may feel weird and you may not believe it, but you got to just practice it. So yeah, that's what I'm working on now.
So I think we're at the end. That's number 4. So thank you for joining us again. We'd love to know what you're reading, what your thoughts were, what helps you move your thoughts, your spirit in different directions that expands you. So I'm Karen Vale, a confidence and mindset coach, and I am here with my
Anna
partner.
Jennings, and I'm a midlife mentor.
And thanks for joining us.
Have a good one, everybody.